be back, ladies and gentlemen.
What is up, YouTube? I'm your friendly neighborhood Edman64, bringing you Game 3 of the World Series at Shea Stadium. But we're not the Mets, so what the hell's going on here? We are the AL West expansion team, the Las Vegas Dragons. I would ordinarily do this on Game 4, but I know for a fact I'm going to forget the more tired I am. In our expansion team, alongside the Sea Dogs, we went on a magical run where we won 99 games to win our division in our first year, mostly on the backs of our two best starting pitchers. Them being Jamie Wright, who pitched to an amazing 27-4 record with over almost 700 strikeouts. And then JD, our self-made player who threw 180 innings his rookie year, 15 wins, and 168 strikeouts. It was because of our good solid starting pitching that we won our division, and it's because of our good solid starting pitching and a nicely potent offense that we've managed to get a 2-0 lead here in the World Series. All that can flip on the turn of a dime, though, as you never can tell if your World Series leads are safe unless you play them. We got Matt Morris for the Cardinals. He was a Cardinal. That's the first thing I think of. Matt Morris, who is more of a junk ball pitcher than anything, versus Scott Kazmir. And I found it appropriate that Scott Kazmir should pitch at Shea Stadium because he could have been the ace of many of the mid-2000s Mets teams if the Mets weren't a stupid organization. But since this is the World Series and since we are at a National League ballpark, we are playing with no DH, which means Mike Piazza will be on the bench for us this time around. If we want to win, we're going to have to play by NL rules with using pinch hitters and pinch runners. That's why you saw the lineup was the way it was.
Starting for the Mets is Morris.
So it'll be Matt Morris versus Scott Kazmir.
Here's the pitch we've all been waiting for.
Game 1 at Shea.
For a hit.
Game 3 at Shea, sorry.
He throws to the cutoff man. The go-ahead
I will say this.
No
I have been to a handful of ballparks in my lifetime. I will definitely have not been to all. I've been to Yankee Stadium a couple of times. I've been to Citi Field a lot of times. There was no ballpark that rocked when the team was good, quite like Shea Stadium did when the Mets were good.
Enoch gets a base hit to left field. Las Vegas get 2 consecutive hits. Ryan Church, who is in his 3rd year in the big leagues, is now
granted, it was like a 40-year-old ballpark by this point,
right here and now with the game barely started. Right between second base and shortstop, hit to center field.
Ryan Church helps us jump to an early 1-0 lead.
Next up, Marcus Thames. Las Vegas could stretch their lead here. There's a ball just inside the left field line.
And now it's a 2-0
to the outfield. He throws to third. Second base runner comes home. Las Vegas extend their lead to 2. Las Vegas has 4
I don't understand why in our ballpark, if they're going to have Ben Johnson be the starting left fielder, why did you have Lasting Millage playing in our ballpark? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Why would you have Millage be their starting right fielder in those ballparks, but if you're going to have Moises Alou at Shea,
here we go.
Make it make sense, guys.
Hit the first pitch. Goes past shortstop, hit to center
field. But no, there was no ballpark
quite
like Shea Stadium.
Their lead to 3.
And while I've been to Citi Field a bunch of times, and it is a beautiful ballpark, nothing will ever beat Shea, in my opinion. Yes, the seats were terrible. Yes, it was a cavernous ballpark.
The ball makes contact.
But you know what? There was just some sort of charm to it.
Close call, but he's safe.
That Citi Field was lacking.
Has a chance to increase their lead.
That Citi Field is still lacking.
Here we go for the first pitch. He hits the first pitch.
But maybe the Mets will make Citi Field finally at home in 2025 and win the World Series.
2 men left on base.
Which has to happen because I got a fortune cookie that said the Mets were going to win the World Series.
Starting for Las Vegas.
Specifically, it said your dreams will come true in October.
The Mets are down by 3 runs. Leading off is
so I know that has to be true. Fortune cookies have never lied to anyone.
Pop fly to the catcher. Foul ball.
So if they win the World Series this year, I'll be a very happy. I'll be a very happy man. Because you know what? That'll mean I can get off the Mets' case about winning another one. I just want one championship.
Next up, Ben Johnson.
One day where I can sit there and go, my baseball team is the best.
Kazmir
retires the Green Bay Packers are my football
Next
team.
up, Carlos Beltran hit the first pitch.
They gave it to me, and goodbye.
It's a homer!
All right. That's a bounce back.
Carlos Delgado. He belts one off the first pitch.
I should have expected
he
that.
Got it. There's the third out.
But I am going to keep fighting.
No errors. Las Vegas are leading off in this inning with
the Green Bay Packers are my football team. They won me a Super Bowl back when I was in high school, so I'm not hard on their case about winning another Super Bowl. I already won one. I don't need to win another. So now all of my attention is put towards the Mets and the New York Mets and the New York Rangers to win a World Series or a Stanley Cup.
Next at bat,
given the way the Rangers have played this year, it's very likely they are not going to be in the playoffs. They have played like absolute dog shit.
Here we go for the first pitch. Off the head of the bat.
Defense, they don't score runs, they just pass the puck along. It ain't happening this year.
The ruling is
I could try, I could dream.
Ryan Church drove in a run in his last at bat. He connects with the first pitch. He got it. The runners go back
a lot
to
of
the
wood
bases.
on it, but probably too violent of a swing.
Drove in a run in his last at bat. Here we go, the first pitch. He hit the first pitch once again. Thrown to first. That's the final out. No runs, one hit, no errors, 2 men left on base. We enter the bottom of the second inning. Las Vegas 3.
Yeah, the Rangers are not winning. The Mets, however, have a very decent chance.
First pitch.
I won't say a great chance,
and it's pulled towards
but
the line.
That's because the NL is so stacked.
The batter with a liner to third.
I honestly think the top 17, I'd say the top 4 teams in the National League
He's behind in the
are
count.
better than the top American League team.
Goes after it, but comes
like
up
if you did power rankings, I would say all the top 4 NL teams
Next
are
up,
better than the number 1 AL team. The AL team that's the best is the Yankees.
He pulled that one well.
But even then, I would say
left side,
the Dodgers are better than them, the Mets are better than them, the Phillies are better than
Liner
them.
to center field.
And you could argue Atlanta's probably better.
There's the third out.
If they're healthy.
Las Vegas are now up to bat.
So, like, you know there's going to be a bunch of NL teams that are going to be disappointed this year.
Look at it go!
Most of us are hoping it's the Dodgers, but
there
are probably some people out there who would get the little kicker.
It got what it deserves. 4-1. Las Vegas extend their lead to 3. He touches home base after circling around the bases.
I didn't want to even acknowledge that because, like, oh my God. Wasn't a no-doubter, but that was a rocket.
Beltran caught that one. One away.
And Matt Morris ain't a particularly good pitcher.
He made it out first time up.
If you use expansion teams in 2008, though, Matt Morris is basically an essential free agent for you to sign. Otherwise, you are gonna get blocked in that game.
There's a pop-up landing in the stands.
They have more free agents in 2008's version of season mode, but I would say there aren't as many like impactful free agents.
2 away.
Like you have one good starter,
is retired on an
which would be Chuck James, and then you have one good fielder, that would be the first baseman Dan Johnson.
He steps on the first base.
Nobody else to really like build your team around. You know, it's
the Mets are down by 3
weird.
runs. Here we go for the first pitch. It's a strike. Count 0-1.
That's why we're not doing expansion mode in 2008. We'll do the regular season mode if we're doing it.
Kendall gets a base hit to left field.
I am debating between 4 teams as to which one I'm going to do.
Second base bag out.
I'm either going to do the Mets, I'm either going to do the Angels, I'm either going to do Milwaukee.
He went down
and the 4th team I've decided that I might consider doing is Detroit. So I have not decided which team I'm going to do just yet.
He got it. There's the third out.
Detroit because they just seem like a fun team to be. The Angels are my second favorite American League team.
Scott Kazmir.
Brewers because I was a little
He's set to deliver the first pitch. Drag bunt out of nowhere. How about first?
That's just my reasoning. Or I might just pick a completely random team. I might be.
Here we go. The first pitch.
Padres. I don't know.
There's the first pitch, and it's hit.
I will not be the Padres.
He throws to the cutoff man.
There are some baseball teams in MLB 08, MLB Power Pros 08 that are just like.
Here we go. The first pitch. Off the head of the bat. Toss to second.
And for me, the Padres would be one of them.
There's 2. Double play.
Like on paper, they look like they'd be a really decent team, but then you just. You just look at that roster and you're like, I see nothing good here.
Lineup. He lined out to the second baseman his
Outside of maybe Adrian Gonzalez.
Schneider got that one.
And Jake
one away. Johnson retires with a pop-up fly in the foul territory.
Like, they insist Trevor Hoffman's a good closer in that game, but every time I've seen Trevor Hoffman in that game, his ERA is like 12. That's terrible.
Beltran gets a base hit. Our next batter, Carlos Delgado. He popped up to the infield his first time up. It's a strike. Catcher throws to second.
Got out. Base
the umpire
runner.
says safe. That's
Ooh,
a stolen base.
For who? Oh, Beltran. Okay, that
He
makes
pulled
sense.
that one well.
There's no way in hell I just gave up a stolen base to like Ben
Delgado
Johnson.
strikes out.
That was Beltran.
And
Beltran,
man of the hour, David Wright. He lined out to the third baseman his first time up. He drives it to the opposite field. That's the final out.
You gave me the second baseman, and I foiled your scheme.
At the end of the fourth inning, Las Vegas are now up to bat. Ryan Church has had 1 RBI so far in this game. Here we go, the first pitch.
Yeah, I have not decided which team I'm going to be.
There's a hit. Beltran is going
On the
after
one
it.
hand, if I pick the Mets, I can get the Demon Magic.
The batter
of
stops
Ryan
at second base. Church
But if I
hits a
pick the
double into
Tigers,
gap
I
right
can get
center
the
field.
man, the myth, the
Next
legend.
up, Marcus Thames. Here we go for the first
But if I
pitch.
pick the
Next
Angels,
with the
I
first
have a
pitch.
very good chance of winning the World Series without even make any major tweaks. But if I pick the Brewers, it would be a very fun team.
Russell Branyan got a home run in his last at-bat.
Again, like I said, I have not decided which of those
This one
teams I'm gonna
lands in the
use.
stands. Foul. Fly ball down the right foul line. He's under it. That was an easy catch. We're on third, tags and comes home.
All right, and
Double
what
play.
the hell happened to your speed?
44.
What the hell happened?
Here we go for the first pitch. Hit the first pitch. Line drive up the middle between
Moises
second and
Alou doesn't
shortstop.
have a
Hit
good
to center
throwing
field.
arm. What the hell was that?
Next up, Brian Schneider. He's set
Yikes,
to deliver the
man.
first pitch.
Very
Foul
yikes.
ball.
All right, Schneider, you got another home run in you? Probably use it.
Fly ball down the right foul line.
That is
There's a
not
hit.
a home run.
Relay to second.
I'll take it anyway. It is a
Second
double.
base runner comes home. Las Vegas extend their lead to 4. Next up,
And again, this is another one of those,
here we
if I
go
can
for the
get
first pitch.
a guy enough innings type
Right
things,
between
I'll be
second base
happy.
and shortstop. Hit to center field. Las Vegas extend their lead to 5. Safe. He's in there before the tag. Safe at second. West gets his second RBI of the game. Next up, Scott Kazmir. The pitcher throws it to first base. That's the final out.
So
3
Scott
runs,
can give me
5
7
hits,
innings.
no
I'll
errors,
take
1
that.
man left on.
Yeah, but
The
Scott
Mets are
Kazmir
now
would be
up
a
to bat.
great
Here we go
guy
with
to
the
have
first
in
pitch.
pitching Shea Stadium for this
That's
because
a strike.
he could have been a great Mets pitcher at this
Out
point.
the head of the
but
bat.
no, the Mets had
Thrown
to
to
give
first.
in to Al Leiter and John
One
Franco
away.
throwing temper tantrums.
Valentine crowns to third and is retired.
We don't want
Next
him
at bat,
playing his
Moises Alou.
music
That's a
too
strike.
loud. We want to listen to Sinatra in the locker room.
It's a strike. He's behind in the
Yeah,
count.
you know what? It would be something if you guys had been
Alou
good the year
strikes
prior
out.
and he was a hot shit rookie.
Jason
You were
Kendall
one of
has
the
had a
worst
base hit
teams in
already
baseball
this game.
that year.
He's set
And
to
he was
deliver
coming
the
to
first
infuse
pitch.
young
That's a
life
strike.
into the team, and you guys were just trash. I'd like to point out that Al
Infield
Leiter
grounder.
and John Franco would both play beyond 2004 for
He throws
other
to second.
teams, and they were terrible.
Kendall gets
Meanwhile,
a base
Scott
hit.
Kazmir would
Next
be
up, Matt Morris. There's a
the
run
ace
out on the
of
field.
several
The Mets
Tampa
are
Bay
putting in a
teams
new hitter.
until
Pinch hitting,
2009
Alexi
when he
Castillo.
traded
That's
the
a
Angels.
strike. Strike. He's behind
Don't you
in the
think
count.
them 2006
Castillo
Mets could have used a
strikes
guy
out.
like Scott Kazmir in their rotation? You know, instead of like wasting
No
a
runs,
friggin'
1
sign
hit, no
to go
errors,
get
1
all
man
of
left on
Perez,
base. At the end of the 5th inning, the Mets won. Las Vegas
who
7.
granted wasn't terrible.
Timeout.
With the Mets until you count
are putting in a new
2009.
pitcher. Heilman is the second pitcher for the team to
And he
take
was
him out
just,
in this game.
after from
Here's the
2009
pitch
on,
we've all
he
been
was
waiting
awful
for.
the Mets.
First pitch is stroked for a hit.
But like
One away.
06, he was okay.
Next up, Enoch.
Wasn't supposed to be anything big, but needed to be after injuries.
He's set to deliver the
07,
first
he was
pitch.
pretty good actually.
He
In
belts
08, he
one
was
off the first
okay.
pitch. Foul.
09, he was just a disaster. In 2010, he was an even bigger disaster. But imagine if you look at the Mets
Top fly to the
rotation
catcher.
heading into 2006,
He got it.
the
2 away.
playoffs.
Heilman.
Even if El Duque gets hurt, you
Ryan
now
Church
have
has had a double already in this game. He's
Scott
set to deliver the
Kazmir,
first pitch.
Tom
Thrown to
Glavine,
first.
John
Out.
Maine, Steve Traxler.
No run.
That is a 4-man rotation
They're
that could
leading off in
do
this inning
serious
from the top of
damage.
their batting lineup. He's set to
But
deliver the first
no,
pitch.
we don't want
First
to
pitch
do
is struck
that.
for a hit. Foul ball.
We want to trade him for Victor Zambrano.
Line drive to left field. The ball is hit
No
the outfield
reason.
for a base hit. Reyes gets a base hit to left field.
They always talk
Ben
about like the
Johnson,
worst
that's a strike.
trades. I don't get how that
He
one
let
is
that
not
one go by.
considered
It's
one
a
of the
ball.
worst trades.
Pulled inside. Foul ball.
As you look at the, I even
Off the
use
head of the
the
bat.
stat that I hate that the
West
stat
caught
geeks
that
came
one.
up with, which is WAR, which is a wins above replacement.
Here we go for the
It
first
basically
pitch.
factors in the
That's a
player
strike.
stats and determines how much a
Swing
player
and miss
would,
again.
how much value a player brings to the
Swing
team
and miss, strike
in comparison to just some
Beltran
run-of-the-mill
strikes out.
replacement
Next at
player.
bat, Carlos Delgado. He pulled that
I
first
have
pitch.
my own issues with the stat
Foul ball
and
just wide to the
wow,
right field foul ball.
no problem.
It's a
I have
strike.
my own issues with
He's
the stat,
behind in the count.
but in general,
2 consecutive
you can
strikeouts.
tell at the very least there's some substance behind it. So I calculated
No runs,
all
one
of
hit,
the
no errors, one
WAR
man left on
that,
base. At the end of the 6th inning, the Mets
that
won. Las Vegas
Scott
7.
Casimir gave to
And the game heads into the 7th inning.
Tampa Bay from the time that
Here
they
we go,
traded
the first
him
pitch.
until he left.
He connects
Compared
with the first
to
pitch.
the
Right between
amount
second base and
of,
shortstop. Hit to center field.
WAR that Victor Zambrano gave the Mets.
Timms gets a base hit. Timms
I think
hits back-to-back base
The
hits.
best case
Next at
scenario
bat,
for
Russell
Zambrano
Branyan.
was I think it was
He
like
belts one off the first
1.8
pitch.
WAR, which means he was worth 1.8
Beltran got that
more
one.
wins than a replacement player would be. Which you'd sit there and go, that's not too bad. But
He's
given
set
that's
to deliver
over
the first
a
pitch. The left fielder's
3-year
trying to get under
span,
it.
that is a big problem. Scott
Johnson got
Casimir,
that one. The first
meanwhile,
base runner is
over
off the
his
base.
4 years,
Brian
3.5
Schneider
years
has had a
with
base hit
Tampa,
already in this game.
was worth 18.
Here we go for the first pitch. First pitch is stroked for a hit.
And
He
basically
steps in the
almost
bag
the same
and makes the
time.
play unassisted.
So,
That's the final
yeah, no,
out.
the trade
No
was an
runs.
absolute disaster that made no sense
The Mets are
and
now up to bat.
probably got the
Here we
general
go for the
manager
first
fired.
pitch. That's a
And again,
strike.
the general manager made a lot of weird choices.
Strike. He's
Need a good
behind in the
reliever?
count.
Oh, let's go sign a guy who's never relieved a game
Fly
in
to
his
shallow
life.
right
a great
field.
reliever.
Church caught that one. One away.
Oh, you
Casimir
want,
retires the hitter on a pop-up to right
we need to sign a first
Next
baseman?
up,
No, we can
Jose
put Mike
Valentine.
Piazza at first
It's a
base.
strike.
Make it make sense. Oh, we signed Kaz
He swung on
Matsui,
it. He's
a
behind in
guy
the count.
who's proven to do nothing in the
He
majors.
pulled that one well.
Cool, let's
Going to
move
first.
our star shortstop
Out.
prospect,
Two
Jose
away.
Reyes, to second base.
Valentine
I'm sure
grounds
that
to
will
third
injure
and
him.
is retired. Our next batter, Moises Alou. Strike.
The only smart thing they did in that
That's a
window
strike.
of 03,
He's behind in the
was
count.
signing Mike Cameron to be center fielder.
Line drive
And
to
even
left
then, they
field.
frigged that up
The
when they
ball
got
is hit the
Beltran.
outfield for a base hit. Alou gets a base hit. The Mets has 6 hits in the game today. Here's the first pitch, and it's a hit. Clean
All
hit
right.
to shallow center. He throws the
Casimir,
third.
I think, well, it depends on who the
Kendall
next pitch
gets a base hit to center field. Kendall gets a base
the next
hit.
hitter?
His third of the day. Aaron Heilman
Julio
is
Franco.
now
I
at the
think
plate.
if you can't get Franco out here, I'm going to have to pull you.
The Mets are putting in a new
Get him.
hitter. Pinch hitting,
I'll let
Julio
that.
Franco.
But I could just imagine
Off the head of the
Casimir
bat.
being on that
Branyan
World
caught that
Series
one.
team.
There's
I
the
would
third out.
just be out of
No
that
runs,
playoff.
2 hits, no errors.
They win.
2
They
men
beat the
left on
Cardinals. No sweat off my back. They beat the
There's a
Cardinals.
timeout on the field.
Then they beat the Tigers.
Mets are putting in a
Then
new
they
pitcher.
get to go. Then they
Sean
win the
Weiss
World
is the third
Series.
pitcher for the
Then
team
you
to
can go
take
out
the
and
mound
get a
in this
guy
game.
like Daisuke Matsuzaka, or you could get a guy like Alfonso
Here's
Soriano
the
to
pitch
put in
we've
your
all been
outfield
waiting for. That's a
instead of
strike.
going for the bargain bin versions. They could have
Off the
done
head of the
so
bat.
much with this freaking team if
Thrown to
they
first.
just done
Out.
the smart
One
things.
away. West grounds to
Imagine
second
like
and
they
is
have their
retired.
own like little
Next
core.
up, Scott Casimir.
Casimir,
Here we go
Wright,
for the first pitch.
Reyes.
Line drive to third.
It would have been freaking beautiful, but no, we can't do that. That makes too much sense.
He's set to deliver the first pitch. Thrown to first. Out.
It
No
sucks
runs,
sometimes, man,
no
sometimes. Sometimes it just
They're leading off in
absolutely
this
sucks to
inning
be a
from the
Mets
top of
fan.
their batting lineup. The Mets. Jose
We have a
Reyes has
6-run
had a base
lead,
hit already in
so I
this
can't
game.
be too reckless with the bullpen here. So we're gonna go with Brandon League.
There's a timeout on the field. Las Vegas are putting in a new pitcher. League is the
If
second.
we had like
pitcher
an
for the team
if I had like a
to
9
this
or
game.
10 run lead, I would say go Brett Myers.
He pulled that one well. Foul ball.
I'm gonna just let League
Foul.
throw here.
Fly to shallow right field. He got it. One away. League retires the hitter on a pop-up to right field. Next at bat, Ben Johnson. 2 away. League
The
retires
part
batter
that
with a liner to
breaks my
short.
heart the
Carlos
most
Beltran has
as
had
a
a
Mets
base hit
fan
already in this game.
is after 2006,
Strike.
everything went wrong. Not just like about the collapse, like the way they rebuilt the team for 2007
That's the
was
final out. No runs, no hits, no errors.
a lot of what made the 06 Mets team good was
And
the
now
bullpen.
we are here in the
Now,
ninth inning. Enox has had a base hit already
building
in
a
this
bullpen
game.
is
Cashes in
not
on the first
easy.
pitch.
And building a consistently good
Beltran goes
bullpen
back.
is extremely
One away.
difficult. So I understand
Ryan
why they were
Church has had a
reluctant
double
to
already
keep
in this
bringing
game.
guys back.
Here
But
we go,
the pieces they
first pitch.
brought
That's a
into
strike.
pitch
Count
for the
0-1.
Mets were just so mind-numbing.
Driven to right center field.
Like Darren Oliver
Beltran got that
was
one.
a guy they
Two away.
signed off the scrap
Marcus
heap,
Thames has had
and
a
he
base hit
became
already in this
an
game.
extremely
Here we go
durable
for the
arm
first
for them
pitch. He
all
smacks the
season.
first pitch.
So
It's a
he
hit.
played
He
very
comes
well
off the
for
wall.
them. Could have been convinced to come back, but then signed
The
with
batter
the
stops at
Angels
second
instead
base.
and became a
Thames
really
has
good
three base
man for
hits in a
them
row
for a
now.
few years.
Russell Branyan has had a base hit already.
They
in this
had
game.
Chad
He belts one
Bradford,
off the
who
first
was
pitch.
a submarine pitcher who has like a really
It's a
goofy
hit.
delivery, but always baffled hitters. He was one of their best relievers. They let him
Las
go to
Vegas
Baltimore
get two
for nothing.
consecutive hits. Here we go for the first pitch. He steps in the
They,
bag
and they
makes the
replaced
play
them with
unassisted.
guys who
There's
just
the third out.
were well
No
past
runs,
their
two
prime.
hits,
They got
no
the
errors,
cheap
2
options.
men left on base.
Cliff
Las
Floyd was
Vegas,
their left
7,
fielder
the
who was
Mets,
injured
1.
for a while, so they wanted to go get a
We are now
right-handed bat
facing
to
the number
replace
4,
him.
5, and 6 batters.
They
That's a
chose the
strike.
40-year-old Moises Alou instead of going out there and getting
He throws to second.
one of the bigger pieces like the Carlos Lee
Next at bat,
or an
David
Alfonso
Wright.
Soriano,
Here we go,
who
the first
probably would have
pitch.
been
Pulled
better options
inside.
for them.
Throwing to second. How about first? Save it first.
Imagine putting Soriano in that 07
Next up,
lineup
Jose
instead of Alou.
Valentin. He's set to deliver the first pitch.
That lineup would probably have been
Another
invincible.
infield grounder. How about first? He's out.
Over giving up a
Double play.
draft pick.
And
Moises
that's the ball game.
40 years
Las
old,
Vegas
hadn't played a
win.
full season in 6 years at that point. It was so dumb. They just made every wrong decision in 07, and it was just frustrating. But what's not frustrating is winning Game 3 of the World Series against the Mets.
That's today's
in
World
this
Series
situation.
game. Las Vegas are now 3-0 in the race for the title.
Scott Kazmir pitched very well, and we move on to Game 4, where the Mets have one last chance to beat us. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I know who they're going to be throwing in for Game 4. I am 90% sure it is going to be El Duque. Let's see who it's going to be. Ian Snell for us and Chen Ho Park? Okay. I think this is an easy World Series win for us, but I guess we'll have to wait for next episode. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm your friendly neighborhood Edman64, and I am signing out. Until we meet again, my lovelies, sayonara.